The sky was burning. Orange and red flames covered the clouds like a terrible painting. The ground was black and broken. Smoke rose from everywhere. This was Planet 7, and it was dying. Han stood alone in the middle of this destruction. He was a soldier, a lieutenant in the Earth Defense Force. He was 32 years old, not very tall but strong. His face was covered in dirt and blood. Some of the blood was his. Most of it was not. Around him, the bodies of his friends lay still. Sergeant Park Jinnah was near a broken rock. She had been his best friend for 6 years. Private Lee was a few meters away. He was only 21, too young to die on an alien planet so far from home. Han looked at them and felt his heart break, but he did not cry. There was no time for tears. The enemy was coming. He could hear them, thousands of feet marching on the burned ground. The sound was like thunder that never stopped. They were coming to finish what they started. Han checked his plasma rifle. It was old and damaged, but it still worked. He had 47 shots left, 47 chances to make them pay for what they did. They appeared over the hill. Han had seen them before, but the sight still made his stomach turn cold. They were tall, almost 3 meters high. Their skin was dark purple like a bruise. They had 4 arms, each one holding a weapon. Their eyes were completely black, showing no emotion, no mercy. They wore crimson armor that covered their bodies. The armor was strong. Han knew that a normal bullet could not break it, but his plasma rifle was not normal. It could burn through anything. They stopped when they saw him, just one human standing in the middle of a dead battlefield. They seemed confused. Where was the army? Where were the ships? There was only this one small creature with a gun. Han counted them quickly. 500 in the front line, more behind. Maybe 2,000 total in this group. And he knew there were more groups coming from other directions. They had sent an entire army to take this planet. A commander stepped forward. He was bigger than the others, with golden marks on his armor. He made a strange sound, like laughter mixed with clicking. "Human," the commander said in broken Earth language. "You are alone. Your friends are dead. Your ships are destroyed. Put down your weapon. We will make your death quick." Han did not move. He did not speak. He just looked at the commander with steady eyes. The commander clicked again. "Foolish creature, do you not understand? You cannot win. You are one. We are thousands. This is mathematics, simple mathematics." Han finally smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a man who had nothing left to lose. "Let me teach you something about humans," Han said. His voice was calm, almost peaceful. "We do not calculate our chances before a fight. We fight because we must. We fight because giving up is not in our nature. You killed my friends. You destroyed my ship. You took everything from me." He raised his plasma rifle and pointed it at the commander. "Now I am going to take everything from you." The commander made a sound of anger. He raised his 4 arms and shouted an order. The army moved forward like a wave of purple death. Han fired. The first shot hit the commander right in the chest. The plasma burned through his armor like it was paper. The commander fell, dead before he touched the ground. The soldiers stopped for a moment. They could not believe what they saw. No human had ever killed a commander so easily. Han did not wait for them to recover. He ran to the left, jumping behind a large rock. Energy blasts flew over his head. The air smelled like burning metal. He counted to 3, then jumped out from behind the rock. He fired 3 quick shots. 3 soldiers fell. He ran again before they could aim at him. This was how humans fought, not by standing still like a target. They moved. They adapted. They used the environment. Every rock, every hole in the ground, every piece of broken metal became a weapon or a shield. Han rolled on the ground, avoiding a blast that would have cut him in half. He came up firing. 2 more soldiers down. Then he was moving again, never staying in one place for more than 2 seconds. They were getting frustrated. They were trained to fight armies, not single soldiers who moved like ghosts. Their weapons were powerful but slow. By the time they aimed, the human was already somewhere else. Han felt a blast burn his left arm. Pain shot through his body, but he ignored it. Pain was just a message from his body. He could choose not to listen. He found another piece of cover, a destroyed vehicle from his own unit. He pressed his back against it and took a deep breath. His heart was beating so fast he could hear it in his ears. He looked at his rifle, 39 shots left. He had killed 8 soldiers with 8 shots, not bad, but there were still so many more. For a moment he thought about giving up. What was the point? He was going to die here, nothing could change that. He was one man against an army. But then he remembered something his grandmother used to say. She was a small woman who had survived 3 wars on Earth. She told him, "Never kneel before anyone. If you must die, die on your feet. Die fighting. Die making them remember you." Han stood up. His arm was bleeding badly now. His body was tired, but his spirit was not broken. "Come on," he whispered to himself. "Let us show them what humans are made of." He stepped out from behind the vehicle and faced the army again. The soldiers aimed their weapons at him. There were so many of them, an ocean of purple and crimson. Han raised his rifle. "Who wants to be next?" he shouted. And the battle truly began. Han moved like water flowing through rocks. He was everywhere and nowhere at the same time. The soldiers fired at him, but they always hit the place where he used to be, not where he was. His plasma rifle sang its deadly song. Each shot found a target. Each shot made one more enemy fall. Han did not waste a single bullet. He could not afford to. They changed their strategy. They stopped trying to shoot him from far away. Instead, they sent soldiers to surround him. 10 soldiers ran at him from different directions, their weapons ready. Han dropped to one knee and fired 4 times. 4 soldiers fell. The other 6 kept coming. They were too close now. He could see the darkness of their eyes, the sharpness of their teeth. He threw himself to the side as a blade swung at his head. He rolled on the ground and came up behind another soldier. He put his rifle against the soldier's back and fired. The plasma went through the soldier and hit the one behind him. 2 kills with 1 shot. The remaining 4 soldiers attacked together. Han used his rifle like a club, hitting one soldier in the face. The screamed and dropped his weapon. Han picked up the alien blade and threw it at another soldier. The blade went into the soldier's throat. 2 left, they were scared now. Han could see it in the way they moved, slow and careful. They had thought he would be easy to kill. They were wrong. Han shot one in the chest. The last soldier turned to run. Han shot him in the back. Soldiers who ran away from battle did not deserve to choose how they died. He checked his rifle, 28 shots left. He had killed 18 soldiers, but more were coming, always more. The second wave hit him like a storm. 30 soldiers this time, moving in perfect formation. They had learned from the first attack. They stayed together, covering each other. Han changed his tactics too. He stopped running and started walking. Slow, steady steps. He fired as he walked, each shot calm and precise. The soldiers fell one by one. The commander of this group shouted orders. The soldiers spread out, trying to surround him again. But Han was ready. He had memorized every rock, every hole, every shadow on this battlefield. He knew where to step, where to hide, where to shoot. He slid behind a large metal plate from his destroyed ship. Energy blasts hit the other side, making the metal glow red. Han waited. He counted the shots. The weapons needed time to recharge between blasts. 3 seconds. That was his window. The blast stopped. Han moved. He was fast, faster than any could follow. He ran straight at them, firing as he ran. 5 soldiers fell before they could react. Then he was among them, too close for them to use their energy weapons safely. They might hit their own soldiers. Han used this confusion. He moved between them, firing at point-blank range. They tried to catch him with their 4 arms, but he was too quick. He ducked under their grabs, slipped past their bodies, and always kept shooting. The commander finally hit him. A powerful punch from an arm sent Han flying through the air. He landed hard on the ground, feeling something break in his ribs. The pain was terrible, like fire inside his chest. The commander walked toward him, all four arms raised. His black eyes showed no mercy. "You fight well for a human," the commander said, "but fighting well is not enough. You will die now." Han looked up at the commander. Blood was coming from his mouth. His ribs were broken. His arm was still bleeding from before, but he smiled. "I am not done yet," he said. He raised his rifle and fired, but he did not aim at the commander. He aimed at the ground under the commander's feet. The plasma blast hit a gas pipe buried under the dirt. The pipe exploded with a thunderous roar. Fire and metal flew everywhere. The commander was thrown into the air, his body torn apart by the explosion. Han used the confusion to escape. He crawled behind a pile of rocks, breathing hard. Each breath hurt his broken ribs, but he was alive. He was still fighting. He looked at his rifle, 15 shots left. He had killed over 40 soldiers now, but there were still hundreds more, and he was getting weaker. His body wanted to stop. It wanted to lie down and rest forever, but Han forced himself to stand. Rest was for later. Rest was for when the battle was over. The regrouped. They formed a new line, weapons ready, but something was different now. They were not moving forward. They were waiting. Han understood why when he heard the sound. Heavy footsteps, much heavier than normal soldiers. The ground shook with each step. A war machine came over the hill. It was huge, 10 meters tall, shaped like a spider with 8 legs. On top of the machine was a platform with a massive cannon. The cannon was pointing at Han. This was their answer to the problem. If one soldier could not be killed by many soldiers, then use a machine. Use overwhelming force. Han looked at the war machine. His rifle could not hurt it. The armor was too thick. The cannon could kill him from a distance where his rifle could not reach. For the first time, Han felt real fear. Not fear of dying. Fear of dying without finishing his mission. Fear of letting his dead friends down. But fear was also just a message. Like pain, he could choose not to listen. Han looked around the battlefield. He needed a plan. He needed a weapon that could hurt the machine. His eyes found something half buried in the dirt. A shoulder rocket launcher from his destroyed ship. If it still worked, it might be enough. The war machine fired its cannon. The blast hit the ground where Han was standing. But Han was already running, faster than he had ever run in his life. The explosion pushed him forward, but he did not fall. He kept running toward the rocket launcher. Energy blasts flew around him like angry insects. The soldiers were shooting at him again. Han did not shoot back. He had to save his shots. He just ran, jumping and ducking, using every skill he had learned in 15 years of military service. He reached the rocket launcher and pulled it from the dirt. His hands shook as he checked it. Damaged, but maybe functional. One rocket left inside. The war machine was turning toward him, its cannon charging for another shot. Han had maybe 3 seconds. He lifted the launcher to his shoulder. His broken ribs screamed in pain. He ignored them. He aimed at the machine's center where the armor looked thinnest. The cannon fired. The rocket fired. Han threw himself to the side. The cannon blast missed him by inches, so close he could feel the heat on his skin. The rocket did not miss. It hit the war machine's center and exploded. For a moment, nothing happened. Then fire burst from inside the machine. The 8 legs collapsed. The war machine fell to the ground with a crash that shook the entire battlefield. Han lay on the ground, breathing hard. His body was broken in many places now, but he was still alive, still fighting. He forced himself to stand once more. He picked up his rifle and faced the army. They were staring at him, not moving, not shooting, just staring. They had never seen anything like this. One human, alone, destroying their soldiers and their war machine. It was impossible. It went against everything they knew about war. Han raised his rifle. "I am still here," he said. "Who is next?" High above the battlefield, a ship moved through the burning sky. This was not a normal warship. It was the royal vessel, the personal ship of Empress Lyra, ruler of the Empire. The ship was beautiful in a terrible way. Black metal covered with golden patterns. It moved silently, like a shadow with a purpose. Inside, the Empress sat on her throne, watching the battle through a large viewing screen. Empress Lyra was different from her soldiers. Her skin was lighter, almost silver instead of purple. Her eyes were not completely black. They were golden, like liquid fire. She was tall, even for and she moved with the grace of someone who had ruled for a very long time. She was over 300 years old. She had seen countless battles, conquered hundreds of planets. Nothing surprised her anymore, or so she thought. Her advisor, General Woon, stood beside her. He was watching the same screen, but his face showed confusion. "I do not understand," General Woon said. "Our soldiers report that there is only one human left, just one, yet he has killed over 50 soldiers and destroyed a war machine." Empress Lyra leaned forward on her throne. Her golden eyes studied the screen carefully. She could see the human now, a small figure standing among the dead. He was covered in blood and dirt. He should be dead many times over, but he was still standing, still holding his weapon, still fighting. "Interesting," she whispered. "Should we send more soldiers, Your Majesty?" General Woon asked. "Or perhaps use the ship's weapons to end this quickly?" Empress Lyra raised one of her 4 hands. "No, I want to see this." She stood from her throne and walked toward the front of the ship. Her royal guards followed her, their weapons ready, but she waved them back. "Prepare my transport," she commanded. "I am going down to the surface." General Woon's black eyes widened. "Your Majesty, that is too dangerous. The human might." "The human might what?" Empress Lyra interrupted. Her voice was cold and sharp. "Kill me. I have lived for 300 years. I have survived assassination attempts from my own family. I do not fear one damaged human." But that was not entirely true. For the first time in many, many years, Empress Lyra felt something new. Not fear exactly, more like curiosity. What made this creature keep fighting? What strange fire burned inside him? Her transport ship descended through the smoky sky. The battlefield came into view, covered with bodies and destroyed machines, and in the middle of it all, the human. The transport landed a safe distance from the fighting. Empress Lyra stepped out, her golden robes flowing behind her. Her elite guards surrounded her, 100 of the best soldiers in the Empire. Each one was bigger and stronger than the normal soldiers. Each one had killed hundreds of enemies. The army parted to let her through. They bowed as she passed, showing respect to their ruler. Empress Lyra walked until she had a clear view of the human. Han saw her coming. He knew immediately that this was someone important. The golden robes, the guards, the way everyone moved out of her way. This was their leader. He raised his rifle and pointed it at her. The elite guards moved forward, ready to kill him. But Empress Lyra raised her hand again, stopping them. "Wait," she said. "Let him aim. Let us see what he does." Han kept his rifle pointed at her. His finger was on the trigger. He could shoot right now. Maybe he could kill their leader before her guards killed him. It might be worth it. But something stopped him. The way she was looking at him, not with anger or hate, with genuine interest, like he was a puzzle she wanted to solve. "You are injured," Empress Lyra said. Her voice carried across the battlefield easily. "Your body is broken. You have almost no ammunition left. Your friends are all dead. Your ships are destroyed. By every logical measure, you should surrender or die." Han did not lower his rifle. "And yet you keep fighting," the Empress continued. She took a step closer. Her guards made worried sounds, but she ignored them. "Why? What drives you to resist the impossible? Han thought about her question. He thought about his grandmother's words. He thought about his dead friends lying on this burned ground. He thought about Earth, his home planet so far away. Because that is what humans do, he finally said. We fight, even when we cannot win, even when hope is gone. We fight because the moment we stop fighting, we stop being human. Empress Lyra tilted her head. This answer confused her. They had a different philosophy. They fought to win. If victory was impossible, they retreated and found another way. They did not waste lives on hopeless battles. That is inefficient, she said. That is illogical. What do you gain from dying in a battle you cannot win? We gain everything, Han replied. His voice was tired but strong. We gain honor. We gain purpose. We gain the knowledge that we did not surrender. We gain a story that others will tell. They will say that even at the end, humans stood and fought. And maybe, just maybe, that story will inspire others to fight too. Empress Lyra was silent for a long moment. She had conquered many species across the galaxy. Some had surrendered immediately. Some had fought for a while before giving up. None had shown this kind of stubborn resistance. She remembered the reports about humans, a young species only recently reaching the stars, physically weak compared to most aliens, short lives, fragile bodies. How had such a species survived long enough to leave their planet? Now she was beginning to understand. It was not their bodies that made them dangerous. It was their spirits. You killed my commander, Empress Lyra said. You killed over 50 of my soldiers. You destroyed my war machine. You, one small human, alone against my army. I did, Han agreed, and I will kill more before you kill me. A strange sound came from the Empress. It took Han a moment to realize she was laughing. I believe you will try, she said. I truly believe you will try. She turned to her elite guards. Surround him, but do not kill him yet. I want to see more. I want to understand this creature better. The guards moved, forming a circle around Han. They were bigger and faster than the normal soldiers. Their armor was thicker, their weapons stronger. Han knew he could not fight them the same way. But that did not mean he could not fight at all. He looked at the Empress one more time. Something passed between them in that look. Not respect exactly, not understanding, more like recognition. Two warriors seeing each other clearly for the first time. I am going to make you remember this day, Han said. The Empress smiled with her sharp teeth. I am already remembering it. Han turned to face the elite guards. His rifle had 8 shots left. 8 shots against 100 elite soldiers, the worst odds he had ever faced. He smiled. Time to do the impossible again. The elite guards attacked with perfect coordination. They moved as one, their bodies forming deadly patterns. They had trained together for decades. They had never lost a fight. Han moved differently. He was chaos itself. He ran in directions that made no sense, jumped when he should have ducked, attacked when he should have retreated. His movements had no pattern because patterns could be predicted. The first guard swung a massive blade at him. Han dropped to the ground and rolled between the guard's legs. He came up behind the guard and fired into the back of his head. The plasma burned through the helmet easily. The other guards adjusted instantly. They pulled back, creating more space. They did not want the human getting close to them. But Han was already moving again. He ran straight at the next guard, screaming a battle cry. The guard raised his weapon to shoot, but Han slid on the ground at the last moment. The energy blast went over his head. Han fired twice while sliding, hitting the guard in the knees. The guard fell, and Han put a third shot into his chest. 5 shots left, 2 elite guards down, 98 to go. Empress Lyra watched from behind her remaining guards. Her golden eyes were wide now. She had seen many warriors in her long life. She had never seen anyone fight like this. The human was not just strong or fast. He was unpredictable. Every move he made was different from the one before. It was like fighting smoke, like trying to catch water with your hands. "Your Majesty," General Woon said quietly. He had come down from the ship to stand beside her. "Perhaps we should end this now. Use the ship's weapons." "No," Empress Lyra said firmly. "I must see how far he can go. I must understand the limits of human will." The elite guards changed their strategy. They stopped trying to surround him. Instead, they formed a wall and pushed forward together, shields raised. This was a formation designed to crush enemies, to give them nowhere to run. Han saw the wall coming. He could not go through it. He could not go around it. So he did the only thing left. He jumped over it. Using a broken piece of metal as a step, Han launched himself into the air. He flew over the shields, over the surprised heads of the elite guards. As he passed above them, he fired 2 shots straight down. 2 more guards fell. Han landed hard on the other side. His broken ribs screamed at him. Blood came from his mouth. But he was behind their formation now, and they had to turn around to face him. Those few seconds of confusion were all he needed. He fired his last 3 shots, 3 more guards down. His rifle was empty now. Han threw the useless weapon at another guard's face. The guard raised his hand to block it, and in that moment of distraction, Han grabbed the guard's own weapon and turned it against him. The weapon was heavy, designed for their 4 arms. Han could barely lift it with his 2 human arms, but he did not need to lift it high. He just needed to point it forward and fire. 3 more guards fell before they realized what had happened. The elite guards pulled back again. They regrouped at a safe distance, staring at the human with something new in their black eyes. Fear, real fear. Han stood alone in the center of the battlefield. His body was a mess of blood and burns and broken bones. His breathing was harsh and painful, but his eyes were still clear, still determined. 100 guards had started the fight, 90 were left, and the human had not slowed down at all. "Impossible," General Woon whispered. "This should be impossible." Empress Lyra did not speak. She could not. For the first time in 300 years, she was truly shocked. She had conquered entire civilizations with fewer soldiers than she had lost today, and all of this damage came from one human. One. The elite guards attacked again. This time 20 of them charged at once, weapons swinging. Han moved through them like a dancer, twisting and ducking and striking. The stolen weapon fired again and again. Guards fell around him. But the odds were catching up. A blade cut across his back, leaving a deep wound. Another guard kicked him in the ribs, making stars explode in his vision. A third grabbed his arm and twisted. Han felt his shoulder pop out of its socket. The pain was beyond anything he had felt before. His vision went white for a moment. But even through the pain, he kept fighting. He headbutted the guard holding his arm, breaking the guard's nose. He grabbed the guard's weapon with his good arm and fired 3 times. The guards pulled back again. Only 70 were left now. Han fell to his knees. He could not stand anymore. His body was finally reaching its limit. Too much blood lost, too many broken bones, too much pain. But his spirit was not broken. It would never break. He forced himself to look up at the remaining guards. They were staring at him, not moving. They seemed afraid to attack again. "Come on," Han said. His voice was weak but still defiant. "Is that all you have? Is this the best the Empire can offer?" One guard made a strange sound. It took Han a moment to realize the guard was crying. An elite guard, one of the most dangerous soldiers in the galaxy, was crying with fear. The other guards looked at each other. Something was passing between them, a silent communication. Doubt, uncertainty. They had been told that humans were weak. They had been told this mission would be easy. They had been told wrong. Empress Lyra stepped forward. Her guards tried to stop her, but she pushed past them. She walked through the bodies of her fallen soldiers until she stood directly in front of Han. He looked up at her with his bloody face and tired eyes. You should kill me now, he said, while you still can. Empress Lyra did not answer immediately. She was studying him, memorizing every detail. The way he held himself even while kneeling, the fire that still burned in his eyes, the stubborn refusal to give up even when giving up was the only logical choice. How many of my soldiers have you killed today? She asked quietly. Han thought for a moment. I stopped counting at 100. 100 soldiers, 100 of her trained warriors gone, killed by a single human who should have died hours ago. And now, looking at him, Empress Lyra knew something terrible. Even on his knees, even dying, this human was still dangerous. He would keep fighting until his heart stopped beating, and even then, he would probably find a way to bite her. This was what humans were made of, not muscle and bone, will, pure, unstoppable will. For the first time in 300 years, Empress Lyra felt something she had forgotten existed. Doubt. She turned to look at her remaining soldiers. They were watching her, waiting for orders, but she could see the fear in their eyes. They did not want to fight this human anymore. They wanted to leave this terrible place and never come back. Empress Lyra made a decision that would change the future of her empire. Stop the attack, she commanded. The soldiers looked confused but relieved. They lowered their weapons slowly, as if afraid the human might attack at any moment. Han stared at the Empress. He did not understand. Why were they stopping? He was on his knees, almost dead. This was their chance to finish him. What are you doing? He asked. Empress Lyra looked down at him with her golden eyes. Something I have never done before, she said. I am learning. The battlefield was silent. For the first time since the fighting began, no weapons were firing. No soldiers were screaming. The only sounds were the wind and Han's harsh breathing. The remaining soldiers stood in loose formations, their weapons down. They watched their Empress with confusion and something else. Relief. They were relieved that they did not have to fight the human anymore. General Woon hurried to Empress Lyra's side. His face showed clear alarm. Your Majesty, I do not understand. We have the human surrounded. He is defeated. Why are we stopping now? Empress Lyra did not look at him. Her golden eyes were fixed on Han, still kneeling on the bloody ground. Tell me, General, she said slowly, how many soldiers did we bring to this planet? General Woon checked his information device. 12,000, Your Majesty, plus another 5,000 in reserve on our ships. And how many have we lost today? There was a long pause. When General Woon spoke again, his voice was quiet. Over 100 to this human alone. Another 300 to the human military forces before they were destroyed, plus the war machine and several transport ships. Over 400 soldiers, Empress Lyra repeated. And the human military forces numbered how many? Approximately 200, Your Majesty. Empress Lyra finally turned to look at her general. 200 humans killed 300 of our soldiers before they fell. One human, alone and injured, killed another 100. Do you understand what these numbers mean? General Woon was silent. They mean we were wrong, Empress Lyra continued. Our intelligence told us that humans were weak. Our scientists told us that they were not a threat. Our military planners told us that conquering Earth would be easy. She pointed at Han. That creature on the ground proves they were all wrong. Han listened to this conversation with fading consciousness. His body was shutting down, trying to save itself. But his mind was still working, still listening, still fighting in its own way. Empress Lyra walked closer to him. She crouched down until her golden eyes were level with his. What is your name? She asked. Han looked at her for a long moment. He had no reason to answer. She was his enemy, the leader of the force that had killed his friends. But there was something in her eyes that made him speak. Han, she repeated. The name sounded strange in her alien voice. I will remember that name. My empire will remember that name. Why does it matter? Han asked. His voice was barely above a whisper now. I am going to die here. You will continue to Earth. You will kill more humans. Nothing I did today will change that. Empress Lyra stood up. She looked at the sky, at the burning clouds and the distant stars. You are wrong, she said. What you did today changed everything. She turned to face her army. Thousands of soldiers spread across the battlefield, waiting for her command. They had come here expecting easy victory. They had found something else entirely. Soldiers of the Empire, Empress Lyra called out. Her voice was strong and clear, reaching every ear on the battlefield. We came to this planet to test humanity's strength. We expected to find weakness. Instead, we found something that I have not seen in 10,000 years of galactic history. She paused, letting her words settle. We found a species that does not know how to surrender. We found warriors who fight beyond pain, beyond fear, beyond all logical limits. We found creatures whose spirits are stronger than any armor we can build. The soldiers stirred uncomfortably. They were not used to hearing their Empress speak this way. I have made a decision, Empress Lyra continued. We will not proceed to Earth. We will not continue this war with humanity. Shocked sounds rose from the army. General Woon stepped forward, his face showing disbelief. Your Majesty, with respect, this is one human. Earth has billions of them, surely. Surely what? Empress Lyra interrupted sharply. Surely we can defeat them eventually. Yes, probably. With enough soldiers and enough ships, we could destroy Earth. But at what cost? She pointed at Han again. This one human, barely trained with basic weapons, killed 100 of our best soldiers. Imagine an army of millions like him. Imagine fighting creatures who will never stop, who will never surrender, who will follow us across the galaxy seeking revenge. Her voice dropped lower, more serious. We have made many enemies in our long history, but we have never made enemies like humans would be. They would not stop when we defeated them. They would not stop when we occupied their planet. They would fight us for centuries, until one of our species was completely destroyed. General Woon was silent. He could not argue with her logic. Empress Lyra turned back to Han. He was barely conscious now, his eyes closing and opening slowly. Han, she said, I am going to do something unprecedented. I am going to let you live. I am going to leave this planet and return to my empire, and I am going to tell my people what I saw here today. Han forced his eyes open. Why? Because your species deserves to know that they earned this. You, alone, convinced me that humanity is not worth fighting. Not because you are weak, but because you are too strong, too dangerous, too unwilling to accept defeat. She reached into her robes and pulled out a small device. She pressed it, and a signal went out to all ships. All forces begin full retreat. I repeat, full retreat. We are leaving this system. The army began to move. Ships descended from the sky to pick up the soldiers. Medical teams retrieved the wounded and the dead. In the space of an hour, thousands of soldiers were leaving the planet. Han watched them go. He could not believe what was happening. He had expected death. He had accepted death. But instead, he was watching his enemies leave. Empress Lyra was the last to go. She stood before her transport ship, looking at Han one final time. I will send a medical team to help you, she said. Consider it a gift from one warrior to another. I do not understand you, Han said. You came here to conquer. Now you are leaving because of one fight. Empress Lyra smiled. It was a strange expression on her alien face, but somehow sincere. I came here expecting to find animals. Instead, I found something more. I found a species that makes me question the future. If this is what one human can do, what could billions of them do? I do not want to find out. She turned and walked toward her ship, but she stopped one more time and looked back. There is a human word I learned while studying your species. The word is respect. I did not understand it before today. Now I do. She boarded her ship. The door closed behind her. The ship rose into the burning sky and disappeared among the stars. Han was alone on the battlefield, alone with the bodies of his friends and the bodies of his enemies, alone with the silence and the wind. He should have felt happy. He had won. Against impossible odds he had won, but he did not feel happy. He felt tired, so very tired. He looked at the sky, at the stars where his enemies had fled. Somewhere out there was Earth, his home, his people. "I did it," he whispered. "Grandmother, I did it. I stood, I fought, and I won." Then Han closed his eyes and let the darkness take him. He had earned his rest. 3 days later, a human rescue ship found him on the battlefield. He was barely alive, his body broken in dozens of places. But he was breathing. He was surviving. The story of Lieutenant Han spread across the galaxy. The human who stood alone against an empire. The soldier who made an Empress retreat. The warrior who showed the universe what humanity was made of. And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, Empress Lyra of the Empire told her people about a strange and terrible species. A species that did not understand surrender. A species with fire in their hearts and iron in their souls. A species called humans. They never attacked Earth. They never tried again. Some said it was because they found easier targets. Some said it was because they feared what humans would become. But those who knew the truth said it was simpler than that. They were astonished. And astonishment, for the first time in their long history, had taught them to be afraid.